A lot of people who continue to engage with their narcissistic parents, you might be low contact or whatever the situation is, sporadically in contact here and there, take a year off, a couple months off here and there, whatever the situation is. A lot of you have noticed as your narc parents have gotten older that they have become nicer. That instead of being so outward with their abuse and yelling and screaming and name calling, they become very nice, and subtle and kittenish, right? The older they've gotten. But I want you to understand that should not serve as an indication to you that they've gotten better or they've changed. They have not gotten better, they have not changed, they have gotten old. They have reached a conclusion that we will all reach, where we slow down and things get a little bit harder and we have less energy and maybe our health declines, sometimes rapidly, sometimes slowly. They're getting older. They're losing their power. Okay? The reason they've switched up their tactics is because they cannot bully their way through the world anymore. They don't have the power. Male or female, they don't have the power anymore. They have to switch up their tactics. It's like a person who's been a career criminal their whole life. And what they do is they break into houses and they strong arm rob people, give me your shit with a gun, in your face. And, everybody get on the ground and tie everybody up or, beat this person up and take their stuff. Right? But as that criminal gets older, he understands he can't just walk into a place and overpower people anymore. That's beyond him. That's behind him. Nature comes for us all. So he knows he has to come up with different tactics. Maybe he gets a little bit more savvy at IT and he rips people off via the internet, via people's bank accounts, via devices he can use to drive by people's houses and get their credit card numbers right out the air. He does that because he doesn't have to do any heavy lifting. That's what your narcissistic parents are doing. They're the same fucking thief, but they just can't be tough about it anymore. They can't be in your face about it anymore. They can't walk up and overpower you emotionally or physically anymore. They don't have it. So, just like the guy who becomes a cyber thief instead of, a physical one, they become more of a covert, more of a passive-aggressive narcissist, abuser, okay, terrifier. They go that way because they know they don't have what it takes to stand up to you anymore. You have youth on your side, and I don't care if you're 80, if your parents are 80 and you're 60. You have more youth than them. I don't care if your parents are 70 and you're 50. You still have more youth than them. You still have more vitality than them. They now understand that pretty soon they're going to have to come to rely on you. Particularly if they don't have their savings together and their retirement together and the plan put together, about a home or, in-home care or something like that. They know, okay, my working days are coming to an end. I can't drive to that office job, or I can't work in the factory anymore, or whatever they do for a living. It's gone beyond them. It's left them behind. Physically and very often mentally, they can't keep up with it anymore. So who's going to take care of me? Who's going to be the person who helps me? Who is the person that most people give birth to as a retirement plan? The child. My kid has to help me, so I can't beat him over the head with a frying pan anymore. And I can't call my daughter a stupid whore and a bitch anymore. But what I can do is rely on them financially, lean on them, guilt trip them, quote the Bible at them, okay? Hang all kinds of emotional terrorism upon them. I can do that. I can't walk into your room and just start wailing on you anymore. But I can make you feel that I'm just this sad little old man or this sad little old lady, and I just can't help it, and I just can't make it. And I need your help. You wouldn't let a precious old lady or a precious old man starve, would you? You wouldn't allow a precious old lady to be put out on the street because she could no longer pay her bills because she didn't get her life together and get her retirement together, and now she has nothing but Social Security, and that ain't enough to pay a fucking thing. You're not going to allow me to be put out on the streets. You're not going to throw me in a filthy home with nurses and people who don't know me and don't care about me. You're not going to do that, even though I treated you like shit your whole life and chose men and women over you your whole life. Sorry about the sound. Okay? And talk to you like you're a disgusting piece of crap your whole life. Okay? And financially abused you your whole life and body shamed you and told you would amount to nothing and this and this and that and that. Put you in dumb situations. Expose you to bad people who meant you harm. Even though I did all that, I'm old now. So now it's time for you to just push that under the rug. Now, mind you, I'm not going to apologize. I'm not going to fucking apologize. But I will play on your heartstrings, because what a lot of these narcissists do is, particularly as scapegoats, are very empathic. Okay, we have a lot of empathy for people. At least we start out that way. Sometimes it's abused out of us, you know, but we do start out that way. So what they know they can rely on, and why they and what they know they can rely on, and what they know is almost guaranteed, is that we will forgive them. At least in their mind, it's almost guaranteed, because they manipulated us as children. Every time I'm doing a video. Every time I'm doing a fucking video. They manipulated us as children, and we always, let it go because we're kids. What are we going to do? Hold on to it? Move out? Get a condo? You're a kid. You can't do shit. You have to sit there. You can't survive. You can't even legally work till you're like 15 or 16. Child labor if you do so. Okay? So they think, because you have to understand, they're very stupid people, and they never ever update their game. They never ever update their system. They use the same toolbox over and over again. They think it's going to be just like it was when you were a kid, and they think that those patterns will change, will stay the same. Excuse me. They don't realize that as an adult that's had to go out in the world and make a living for him or herself, you've had the opportunity to observe people, and figure out how to read people, how to assess people for safety, how to assess people for bullshit, how to read people's intentions. Because as an adult, largely you're on your own, and you have to be able to see the devil coming. So what they don't understand is that we become adept at reading other people and other situations outside of them. Okay? So they present this nice front, and they do all this little stupid shady shit, thinking, okay, I'm switching it up, but they're gonna stay the same. Don't let them think that. Okay? Don't let them feel as though they're changing tactic to being nicer. Don't let them feel that you think that's them authentically trying to turn over a new leaf. And again, how can there be no forgiveness without an apology? How? How do I forgive somebody who's not even fucking sorry? But now you're wearing a new face and you're smiling, and instead of the horror that verbally abused me from sun up to sundown and brought all kinds of weirdos in the house and did all kinds of selfish shit like buying Benzes and shit when we didn't even have food in the house, instead of me being that bitch, now I'm the nice lady, and I'm old, and I need help, and I can't work anymore. Not that she worked a lot anyway. She mostly would work at a place and then sue them. But now I'm old, and I need everybody's help. And I ate myself into sickness. And I ate myself into being 300 pounds. Everybody come save me. My mom tried that shit with me. But what you're not going to get is a lot of sympathy from me when your shit is self-inflicted. It's self-inflicted. Who doesn't know that it's a bad idea to be 300 fucking pounds? Who doesn't know that? Who thinks at 5'6", as a woman, you being 300 pounds is the best idea in the world? That's just something that's going to be sustainable. And I'm a nurse in healthcare, and I do this for a living, and you're going to talk to me like somebody held you down and made you eat McDonald's. Please. So I knew the game. And I told her, I said, you know what? All this sweetness and niceness would have been really appreciated when I was a kid, and you would berate me from sun up to sundown and make me feel like absolute dog shit. I said to her, I'm in my 30s. I don't need that syrupy sweet bullshit. You save that for little children, because little children need comfort. Not grown adults who have largely lived their lives without you, and largely have been happy to do so because you've been such a destructive force. You've been such a destructive force that a life without you became a refuge, became, a respite, So I say all this to say, they're not nice, they're not getting better, they're just getting old, and they're just getting weak. And I would say, don't just not fall for the bullshit. Don't just stop there. Leave them in the dust. You can expect, if I had kids and I did right by my kids, nobody's perfect. I'm sure I'd make many mistakes as a parent. But if I did right by my kids, made sure they were together financially, made sure they were in activities, made sure they had fun, made sure they had opportunities to socialize and learn about socializing, made sure they had opportunities for higher education. Most importantly, made sure that they could come to me with any concerns about my conduct, and talk to me about it, and we could have a respectful dialogue. If I did all that, and I was 80 years old, 85 years old, and it's going downhill, and I'm not going to be around too much longer, I would expect, hey, at least come fucking see me. At least, maybe take me to the pharmacy, I would expect that if I had been a good parent. If I had been a good parent, I would have grounds to expect that. But if you were a piece of shit parent, and if you had a piece of shit parent, they don't deserve anything. You have to understand, the circumstances of your birth was a one-way contract, and you didn't get to negotiate any of the fine print within that contract. Somebody decided to fuck another person, and you were produced. Okay? So that's already unfair. Okay? That's already unfair, but life's unfair. Okay? But let's go further with that. You bring this person careening into this life against their will, and then you want to treat them like shit when you're the only lifeline they have. You're the direct reason, the direct causation of their existence. And so you get to kick this person when they're the most vulnerable, which is their childhood. You get to do what I see happens on National Geographic every fucking time I turn that program on, and a little baby gazelle is born, and a whole pack of lions run up and rip it the fuck apart because it's young and it's vulnerable and it cannot fight back or outrun these things. That's essentially what a narcissistic parent does to a child. It's the ultimate bully. You got to be a real piece of shit to pick on a kid. You got to be a real piece of shit to pick on a kid. So I say that, all that to say, one, go no contact. But if you are still in contact with this old motherfucker, guess what? They're just old. They're not better. Instead of chasing the gazelle down, they're going to lure it closer to its cave. And then they're going to pounce. They don't have the power they once had, mind you. But they do have the same intentions. Because no matter how old and how decrepit the lion gets, he still needs to eat, don't he? So he's going to find another tactic. He can't use brute strength anymore and bring down a water buffalo. He's got to figure some shit out. You know? So they're not nicer. They're just old. Okay? And I would say don't even let them get old on you. Whatever age you are right now, it is not too late to cut these people out of your life. It is not too late to cut these people out of your life. It's not too late to cut all the enablers and the flying monkeys, whatever language you want to use to describe these people. It is not too late to cut them out. It is never too late to save yourself and to save whatever remaining peace of mind you had. I made it to 37. Again, I was very low contact, so how much it counts, I'm not sure. But when I was done, I was done. And because of her huge weight gain and her illnesses and all this shit, she was switching up tactics, looking for a retirement plan. I will never be the retirement plan for someone who tried to devour me when I was young. You don't get that. You don't get that from me. You don't get that when you never ever cared about how I felt. You never ever cared about me having a sense of security. You never even cared about me pursuing higher education. You took money from my father's estate, didn't put it in a bank account for me. You would not keep a job. You sued every job. You threw us into financial disarray. You talked about me like I was a dog to anybody who would listen. You turned my brother against me. And I'm supposed to be your retirement plan? I'm supposed to care because you like KFC and your fat ass ballooned up and now you got problems? I'm supposed to care? You got another thing coming. Leave them in the dust.